Alright, a wonderful good day everybody and welcome back here to my channel, God's Shadow. And today we're finally looking at a league and my newest list, which I'm actually pretty happy with. So, going from the main to the sideboard, main board contains, instead of the second Creeping Tar Pit, one Otawara, which has performed really well. Of course, you can utilize it to get rid of like a Teferi that ticked up for a couple of turns, or a Murktide, for which it is in there primarily, but it is even more value if you draw it in the late game. I've bounced Blood Moons with it, bounce back Snapcasters. So along the lines of Otawara and one island, we have like 3 ways of getting rid of Blood Moons in the deck. Plus, if we have a snow-covered swamp in play as well, we can also return the Brazen Borrower from the graveyard. So we basically have 4 additional ways of returning the Brazen Borrowers if they have been used before. So that's really good. And then we can play around the Blood Moon also with Seasoned Pyromancer, etc. So very sorry for the coughs in between. I'm still not yet fully recovered from my corona infection or COVID infection, which has rattled me and my partner really quite a bit these last couple of days, and that was also the reason why there was a little bit of a gap in terms of uploads. But yeah, so the next big change here is the replacement of Bonecrushed Giant with Seasoned Pyromancer. Pyromancer is just a nod towards the meta that is very, very, very grindy and very over the top. And also because these 4 cards are bad in good 30% of the meta. So Living End decks, Tron decks, Amulet decks, are all decks where like these 4 cards are really bad. And then on the other side, of course, you have matchups where Counterspell is bad because of Cavern of Souls or whatever. So Seasoned Pyromancer smoothes those dead draws out a little bit, because we can just ditch it for value, draw new cards, and that's just pretty good, to be honest. Also, of course, Seasoned Pyromancer just provides a little bit of meat on the ground that can block a Ragavan, for instance. Most decks right now are like playing spot removal and maybe 1 Fury in the main, in regards to the 4C list. So for many decks, it's really difficult to actually deal with Seasoned Pyromancer in the main board right now. So that's a really, really neat inclusion as of this meta, I think. And then for the sideboard, I'm super happy with the sideboard. I've been talking about these 9 anyway. Then Analyze and Tourist, of course. A new integration here is Flame Blitz. Flame Blitz is just a card that, deals with Planeswalkers very effectively. It's a card that I like a lot against anything that's running Ren 6, but also other Planeswalkers, of course, but Ren 6 being the most important one for us. And even like in the late game, there are some shenanigans where you can bounce it back to your hand and cycle it if you need something else, like an extra draw off of a Cryptic Command, or you can bounce it with Otawara, and you get some extra cycle in there potentially. And then the card that I like the most out of the sideboard right now is Necroplasm. Necroplasm is a card that I haven't been aware of for the most part of my Magic career. Otherwise, I would have probably put it into my sideboard before. But now that there's a lot of tokens running around in the meta that are very difficult to deal with otherwise, Necroplasm is just a supreme removal spell. I really have to say. Of course, it synergizes extremely well with the rest of our deck, but more importantly, it gets around Spell Pierce and other counter spells does have selective removal, which is also important because most of the time I want to get in a couple of extra hits with like Doughty Voidwalker or whatever. So Necroplasm gives me 3 turns basically until I have to make a choice on whether or not I want to sacrifice the Doughty, or I won the game until that point or whatever, or I kill the Necroplasm beforehand. Or just leave it on the battlefield, right? But the same goes for my opponent. So when Necroplasm enters the battlefield and sweeps off a couple of tokens, then from there on, my opponent really cannot put anything onto the battlefield that's, 1 to 3 CMC, because otherwise it will get swept in 1, 2, or 3 turns. And therefore, that this card just provides a lot of time, a lot of value. Super difficult for my opponent to deal with, especially of course in the tribal decks and the uninteractive decks. So yeah, just a card that I like a lot, and you will hopefully also see in action. All right, that's it for the advanced deck tech here. Let's jump into the league. All right, welcome to round number 1. We have an unkeepable hand. All right. This is somewhat better. Now we're going to keep. And I guess we're going to ditch the Snapcaster here. Yeah, I think that's the best option because depending on the matchup, these 3 have their very own unique. We're not playing against a Yorion list, but something that is playing a forest. Alright, seems like we're playing against Yawgmoth potentially here. So, let's get rid of this first, I think. Yeah. Because I want this to be a Triumph, and it does have a Wall of Runes. Okay. So this needs to be a Steam Vents. Obviously, like, our opponent could just play a land and then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for a chord, which means X equals 3. But that's not a Yawgmoth, and therefore... But that would be a Grist, and Grist would also be really bad for us. Now let's see. Arguably even worse, but... Alright, there's Yawgmoth. So let's counter that with the Archmage's Charm. So the good thing about the Seasoned Pyromancer is that you can just go toe-to-toe here and really expand or utilize your resources. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that because that thing's really annoying. Then the Drangloch does a lot for us. Because now, now we can basically counter anything. Another Yawgmoth, okay. And then our play will be K-Command, killing and making him discard. Doesn't have another 1 mana creature here. So let's do this. And then next turn, we're gonna go with the Pyromancer, drawing 2 more cards. Okay, so Boseiju. Let's see what else he has. Opponent definitely running out of resources here. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So I probably don't want to. Nah, do I? No, I do. I'm gonna fetch this for a basic. And then I'm gonna go with Spyro. Which exactly for these kind of spots he's in there. Just something that is on the belt. Oh my, what? I fetched before. Why do I draw 2 more lands? That's really unfortunate. So this might... Court of Calling for 1. Interesting. Alright. So our... Grist, okay. Alright. So our opponent's also completely out of everything. Let's see. So generally speaking, you want to put his life total under pressure because that will restrict the ability to combo off without first having a Blood Artist in play. So I think, I mean, we have to get rid of Grist first, so I think I'm gonna attack both onto the Grist, see what he does. He might be double blocking here. Yeah, but this is fine, I think. I'm gonna kill the Grist. And then we're gonna pass the turn. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. So that's the third Yawgmoth. The fourth. This is the fourth Yawgmoth off the top. Oh my god. This is the last Yawgmoth. Alright. So. I think any other card would have been fine because he wouldn't even been able to fetch it with like... I need the fail push. I probably want that. That's fine as well. She's thirst, yeah. So let's see. Yeah. Our opponent knows that he has to preserve his life total a little bit. We shall see. Maybe we have another turn. Apparently our opponent is looking for something that he can do here. Which is interesting. Oh, Otorara is actually a good card for us. Also, Croxa does reduce the cost to 3, so I can actually attack with the Torpid as well. Which is good. does have an endurance. Huh. So, I mean, this has to be on the battlefield first anyway. So he's probably gonna go block and then sack, which I want to prevent. So I'm gonna let this resolve because I can't prevent it anyway. But then I'm gonna go and ditch the Yawgmoth, because this way he cannot block first and then generate the value. Yeah. And then otherwise he would die, so he just has to block here, doesn't get any value out of it. And then he just has the Yawgmoth in hand, which is pretty nice. Actually, if I had targeted the endurance, then he would have had to sack that, and he would have also, I don't know, he could have just remained on 1 life, I guess. Anyway, so Flame Blitz is actually a card that I want to bring in here as well, because the Grixis is just very strong. Necroplasm, maybe. These cards, yes, I think. Cards that are bad. So Brazen Borrower is not great here. Also not due to endurance, so that's gonna go. Opponent might have Veil of Summer as well. Croxa, generally speaking, like, it was good there, but generally speaking it's not super great because our opponent does have a lot of blockers and doesn't really care about the cards in his hand. So I think I'm gonna get rid of that. Gonna get rid of Archmage Charm. So Necroplasm is good against the tokens from Grist. I think one of them is okay, but I don't need two, and then I'm gonna ditch one of those as well. Yeah, that's a keep. So Unlicensed Hearse is good in a couple of ways, in which we can kill, like, everything that we kill on the battlefield we can just eat with Unlicensed Hearse, because before it does get the Undying trigger. Because in between the trigger and the board state there is a brief second where it's in the graveyard. Okay, so Young Wolf, not something that I can kill right now or want to kill right now. So everything's a forest. Okay. That's a very, very dicey play though. If you don't have any black mana source and then you're playing right over into this dude. So let's go with the Water Grave here. Kill that one first. Oh, there's a Dottie. But I think, yeah, so this turn we're still killing. Because we basically put him back to square one here. Doesn't have another land source at all. Yeah, I think we're gonna get him here. Alright, so I could go with... Yeah. A little bit cost intensive, I'd say, but I think it's worth it to just block whatever he's coming up with. I mean, we're just taking one of this Young Wolf, doesn't really matter. And then next turn, okay. GG's. Alright, welcome to round number 2. We're playing against some Yori analysts here. We're gonna keep and see where this goes. So if he does have a turn 2 Ren and 6, I probably want to go Bolt, and then in my turn Hall of Storm Giants, consider Bolt. That's of course still like a 1 for 3, but yeah, it's the best option we have here outside of a Blood Cheese Thirst. Ren 6 is just hideous. I think everybody with like who's at least a little good in Magic like realizes that Ren 6 is just a problematic card in general. Alright, so let's go. I guess actually with a Blood Crypt here, we need the Black Source. Yeah, so Brazen Warrior is actually not such a good card in this matchup because all of our opponent's stuff does have an end of the battlefield trigger. He didn't have a turn 3 play, so no Risen Reef, otherwise I would keep this. But it doesn't get rid of an Yawgmoth, which we need to find an answer to, so either... Well, I guess that works to a certain degree. I do need 2 black sources for it though. Alright, so let's go with this play. And then next turn we need to Steam Ends so that we have 3 blue mana or 2 black mana. And we can bounce whatever he's bringing in here. Ice Fang. Yep. So our opponent might also be playing Endurance in the main. Does have another. Okay, catch red Triumph. So maybe a little bit flooded actually. So if our opponent doesn't do anything, Oath of Nissa. Oh, might this be the version with Vivian of the Hunt? Might also just be personal preference. It's the Fairy Time Reveler. We're so lucky. So basically the goal is, if our opponent's not playing anything, then I'm just going to go with a Brazen Bora. So worst case scenario is probably another Ice Fang. Let's try to kill this first. See if he ephemerates. Okay. And that means that, like, if he does have an additional Ice Fang here, the Domri's Call. So yeah. Risen Reef. Yeah, that was kind of obvious. My opponent trying to get into a spot where he can do 2-3 mana spells through a counter spell. And since we have to answer the Teferi, we cannot wait for the Risen Reef, which will automatically be... Alright, okay. So I am actually more than happy to act on a Risen Reef than I am to act on a Teferi. Are you gonna bounce? Yeah. Alright. So let's see. We did find a lightning bolt. So I guess we're gonna go with that. So our opponent's at 11 life. Depending on whether, when we can activate this Hall of Storm Giants, like just 1 or 2 more chip damage with the Brazen Borer might be enough. Yeah, we definitely have to deal with Yawgmoth. So I'm going to counter here with a counter spell. Because if they resolve another Yawgmoth or whatever, then I want to be able to deal with it on the battlefield as well. Alright, so 1 more. So this is the fetch, right? Then potentially we have 1 chip damage with the Brazen Borer, and then an attack with the Hall of Storm Giants that would already be lethal. And since our opponent didn't respond to our Brazen Borer, he might not have instant speed removal. A Fury. I don't even know. Like, I don't think I want to counter this. I can take Fury for a bit. Like, Fury doesn't do anything right now. And if he does have an Ephemerate, I can still go after the Fury, right? Problem would only be like 2 Ephemerates. I could even, like, I could Petty Theft it. But then the issue is, like, I'm only on 6 mana, I'm on 7, so yeah, we're just gonna play it. I don't want to run into an Ephemerate there and be forced to... Yeah, he does have one, okay. No, he does have a Lightning Bolt, interesting. So my issue is, if I'm going to attack here with the whole Storm Giants, right? And my opponent does have another Yawgmoth in hand. I mean, a Solitude doesn't help him. But like with an Omnath, like if he had another Omnath, 2, 4, yeah. So even another Aladami's Call here is enough. But what I cannot do is... The Fury play was so weird. I don't think I can wait here. Like, I cannot play the Bloodcheese first, because that's just opening me up in the same degree without getting me anywhere. Like, either he blocks here, or... yeah. And the Drownloch, like, he has so much mana right now that he could even play, like, 2 Omnaths, if he wanted to. Yeah, it's a little sad that he had the Lightning Bolt for the Brazen Borrower there. Otherwise, we would really have him in a pickle here. Then he would not be able to block anymore. Alright. Okay, does fetch here. Let's see. Does attack as well. Definitely does have something. But it's not Nomnath. So now K-Command's lethal. Or he does have Vivian. That's also a possibility, I guess. Oh, it's a Yorion. Okay. But what Yorion doesn't do is provide life here. So that means that any K command, any Snapcaster Mage is lethal. Are there any other outs that I have? We have at least 8 outs here for lethality. And our opponent didn't have anything that he could do here. Come on. I mean, I guess. So if I attack here, he has to block. That's not really the issue, right? But what did he draw of the Ice Fang Koala? If I just attack with the Hall of Storm Giants, he doesn't play any counter spells. So we're just trying to survive another turn here to potentially find a Snapcaster Mage. I think we cannot attack, because then a Ren 6 is lethal and a Lightning Bolt is lethal. So we have to get rid of both of them without the Ephemerate. And then we're just hoping that our opponent doesn't have an Omnath plus, plus a land, so that we can still draw into a Snapcaster Mage or an Omnath. So I guess if my opponent were to really want to do it, like he could also direct the Solitude at the Ice Fang. Another Fury, alright. Oh, come on, dude. That's like the, what, fourth? I think fourth land in a row. At the very least. Anything else would be good. Yeah, so I strongly assume that like he's gonna attack with both, and then probably he does have a Solitude to kill our Hall of Storm Giants. 4x axes. And, you know, even with the, like, one might argue that it would have been better to, like, in the last turn or whatever, where I played the Drown, to have this situation, but then he's going to do it in exactly this moment, right, where I have to tap out to counter the Solitude, and then I can't block the Fury anymore. So we're not going to die, but we're going to lose our Hall of Storm Giants. But it does give us another turn. Come on, deck! Alright. So I'm gonna put everything in this. Come on, deck! There's this and black. 2 redraws. Boom. 1 redraw. Not what we want. Oh, come on. Alright. So, are we dead? No, we have 1 more life, I guess. I gotta counter this, otherwise we're dead. Well, he probably does have another prismatic ending. Like, still has 4 cards in hand. I think we would have gotten him there. I honestly think that we would have won with anything that would have done anything. There he is! No! Fuck. And then 2 more lads. 3 more lads. Oh my goodness. It's always the next card. Alright, so Flamebleed's coming in. So I think Unlicensed Hers is a decent card. Probably need to have the Bloodsheath first, but I don't want to have the failed pushes because it doesn't hit Solitude and it doesn't hit Fury. Brazen Boar is going to go, and then I think like 2 Void Walkers. Yeah. But that was quite insane, right? We had, like, in that turn, we had 3 draws plus the consider, so 5 looks. And we weren't able to find, like, 8 out of, what, 32 cards? Or a cryptic command. We weren't even able to find a cryptic command. Alright, so this one we keep. And I actually think that I'm going to get rid of the Drownloch here. Because we're going to hate on his graveyard anyway. So a good thing about Pyromancer in the main board is another thing, and that is that I can ditch it with Consider if I want to in certain situations and still get like instant speed value out of it. I don't want that. So some of these lists are also running Eternal Witness now, which is a little bit strange. Because they already have so much value, but, you know, to each their own. Yep. So this is decent for us because that means no random 6 and also no well, I wanted to fetch that. Alright, let's go with the Cascade Bluffs here, and then ditch the Xander's Launch. I think our mana is decent right now. Good, 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 good. So our opponent's probably bringing in like the Emrakul. So I'm gonna eat my own lands here. Don't really mind having them. I got rid of one of our Grixis. And whatever he's gonna play, I'm probably gonna go after the snow-covered mountain there. Obviously, our opponent might just have a Veil of Summer as well. I didn't play anything up until this point. Oh, let's just wait. And I'm also eating my own things here because I don't want to be running into like an endurance and then just be stuck with all the fetch lands off the top that don't have a target anymore in the late game. Definitely does have a counter spell or something. Yeah. We still get to draw a card, which is good, I guess. Alright, so we're just gonna get rid of this dude. And then I think we're gonna wait for one turn here. So I could like try to bounce the snow-covered mountain here, because then he would have 8 cards in hand, so that would be double good for us. Okay, and now with the second cryptic in hand, I probably have to make that play at some point anyway. What is that? A Solitude? Oh, that's fine. So I'm gonna go with a double counterspell here, rather than just a 1 counterspell turn with the cryptic command, because our opponent has so many lands in hand. That I think so many lands, so many cards in hand, of course. So the good thing is that for the most part I can just ignore a red at 6. This is an issue though. Another Veil of Summer. A Fluster Storm. Lol. What a fucking joke. What a fucking joke. Alright, so now I guess we're gonna keep the Otawara in hand for a bit. Oh, now it's gonna be running pretty wild here. If he doesn't do anything, then we're gonna bounce the Omnath. Ah, well. Obviously, at another fetch land. Alright. Alright. So now we're actually taking the fight here. So I'm purposely leaving up like a black source so that our opponent might be subconsciously tricked into giving us a better play here. Another Fluster Storm in his fucking 80 card stack. already found like a Veil of Summer, 2 Flusterstorms, like all the sideboard cards, while we found 0 sideboard cards in our 60 card deck. Well. But him fighting over the Yawgmoth might mean that he actually doesn't have another one in hand. But does have random 6 apparently, yeah. Okay, Snapcaster Mage is a start. Can at least do something. So I'm gonna say, put it like this, right? If we were to somehow win this match, and we probably also win the this game, then we probably also win the match because what's that? Fury. All right, so you already played his land drop, so there's definitely not gonna be a Yori on this turn. We know that he has another fetch land in hand at the very least, so I'm willing to like gamble big here and go with Snap into Cryptic. And if he does have an Endurance in response, then I could even respond with my other Cryptic. So, card draw. Does have a play. Prismatic Ending. 4, 2. Okay, I think I'm just gonna bounce the Ren in 6 at some point. I'm not gonna go after it with a Creeping Tar Pit. Our opponent might still have like a Lightning Bolt or something else up his sleeve. And of course, like we have to be so careful about like something like Emrakul. So our opponent doesn't have any fetchable targets anymore here, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 10 usable mana. We're gonna wait for one more turn. Probably, right? Oh, let's wait for one more turn. We could also just draw Seasoned Pyromancer, I guess. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wait for this turn to be over. Then we're gonna try to bounce. Okay, so he does have more targets. Just didn't want to utilize it or whatever. Alright, let's return and draw a card. Do I care about an Ice Fang? No, I don't think so. So I need to stop the Yorion, right? maybe it's worth it to wait another turn. Because I do want to use the lightning bolt, but I don't want to ditch the counter spell here. Because I don't want the Yorion to find the Ice Fang, right? Alright, so that's one more turn. I don't care. Like, play the red and 6, I don't care. Do that for a couple of turns. Alright, I'm not gonna play the Season Pyromancer just yet, as long as he has the Yorion in hand. Another Ice Fang, okay. That is interesting though. So now I think I'm gonna do it because the Croxa is actually pretty decent, and with the Season Pyromancer in the bin as well as the Croxa, I always like I'll have a lot of value for the next couple of turns. Which I like. Also, we've already gotten rid of Fury, so our opponent may just not be playing any more Furies here. Does have Endurance though. At least one. I think I have to counter this, because otherwise the Snapcaster Mage is also just going to be dead. Okay, so this means no Yawgmoth in sight. Shit, he has Emrakul. No, Yorion, okay. So I'm gonna let this resolve, then have him assign targets. Can I do that? No, I cannot. Alright, cool, so I have to actually act right now in order to prevent this from happening. Which might mean, of course, that our opponent does have an Ephemerate of some sort. And I think I need to get rid of this because elementals trigger it. This thankfully is not an elemental. Alright, so he gets 2 additional draws off of this, which is pretty decent. I also don't know, like, we're halfway through our deck again, more than halfway, and we haven't seen a single Kolaghan's command yet. With the K command though, we can re-establish a couple of things. So first of all, let's get this one down, right? And then we're gonna play the Croxa. So red, red. black, black. So this one's gonna go Otawara. Can still reshuffle it back. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird at the very least. That we haven't, like... So now we're taking 5. If he has a bolt, we're dead. Very possible outcome. There's Cavern of Souls. Alright. Okay. Okay, no lightning bolt. And we're drawing a land. Well, okay. Where are our Snapcaster's, especially Gulligan's commands? Yeah. Okay. Alright, then off to round number 3. Okay, I'll need to drink. Just a second here. I actually think with a little bit K command support there earlier, we would have had a decent chance. I'm not saying we would have won it, but I think we would have had a decent chance to win it. And outside of that Yorion, you know, there's no spell in his deck. Or maybe Emrakul if he's playing it, but no spell in his deck that's getting around our board at that point. So, yeah. Alright, welcome to round number 3, and our opponent's on a 60 card deck, so that's already a good thing. We're gonna keep, although our mana is a little bit weird, but we have 2 considers, so we might make it work. Best case scenario, of course, would be to find the Sunken Ruins, but any other blue source is okay as well. Are we playing it? Overgrown Tomb Go? Okay. Haven't had that in a while. I'm gonna ditch that first. Come on, give me a... Yeah, okay. Alright, we're playing against Coffers. Yeah, this is okay, I think. Down the road, not in the beginning though. I'm gonna let this resolve. Well, I cannot counter it anyway, but I would let this resolve anyway, I think, because I actually want him to discard stuff, not myself. And I'm going to draw this, I think. No. Then we're going to discard the lightning bolt. So we do have the blood sheath first. It does have an Archon. Okay. But that might just still mean that he is... So I'm going to counter this with the Drown Loch and then counter whatever he's coming up with the counter spell. And then after that, we can either attack the Liliana with the Creeping Tar Pit. So we're discarding the Snow-Covered Swamp. Just in case it's a reanimated list, then... Okay, there's Coffers. It is a reanimated list, apparently. Interesting. So we're gonna go with this. So it's a Coffers reanimator list. Which is pretty weird to me, but you do you. Okay, so another Coffers. Definitely doesn't have another Persist in hand. I think I'm gonna now kill this Liliana. Could wait for one more turn, TBH. Like maybe it doesn't do anything and I don't really need that island. So as long as we're getting a 1-for-1 here, I think I'm fine with it. Oh well. Okay, Eternal Witness, sure. Right. Yeah. So now our opponent's just top decking, and while the deck does have a couple of strong top decks, also does have a couple of really, really bad top decks. Very interesting build here. Like, it's really a Coffers reanimator list. What is this dude? Interesting. Very, very interesting what's going on here. All the cards. All the cards. Okay, so found another perfect land. So I think we're just gonna go ahead here, generate a little bit of value, end of turn. Yeah, we want to ditch that. Our opponent's a little bit off pickle here. Of course, he knows that we have counter magic in hand. But he also knows that we do have the Croxa in our back pocket, so we can make him discard basically whatever. Well, so this generates what now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 5, so he has 11 mana basically. Well, I'll have to be a little bit cautious now. Now we're a little bit stuck on our mana. I mean, we discarded 2, so... Okay, so return Archeon. I don't think that my opponent has a way of getting it through our counterspells, but might be wrong. Cryptic Command. Yeah, and for these types of matchups, Cryptic is of course just some of the best stuff you can possibly ever be doing. Just such a great card. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we are going to play the Snapcaster. And we're going to K-Command, have him discard, because I still don't want to tap out for the Croxa. So I'm going to go K-Command, return Croxa, and have him discard, and then play the Croxa in my turn so that my opponent's out of cards in hand. So everything's a swamp, so we're just fetching for a snow-covered mountain here. Do this, see what he has. Don't really care about that. And then we're just looking for a normal counterspell, and then... well, actually we have lethal next turn, so... Could also be doing that. Alright, fictional adults. So, generally speaking, our lightning bolts are pretty bad in this matchup. Croxer is also not too great, especially if our opponent's running reanimated lists. Do think I want to have all of these, and probably the Alpine Moon and the Flamelets. So the Flusterstorms aren't too great, but probably still an upgrade to Fatal Push, because we don't have targets for those for the most part. Although my opponent, I mean, could be playing Doughty, but it seems like that's exactly where the Reanimator shell is coming in, right? So, and we still have the K commands, we have Drown Loch, and we have Counterspell, and we have Bloodsheath Thirst. So we still have ways of getting rid of Doughties should they appear, but I also do want to have Fulminator Mages, I think. And I think we're going to get rid of Season Pyromancer. So don't want to cut down on counter magic. Guess one Brazen more is okay to be cut. I think let's keep. Our opponent's on a mulligan, so his hand might not be perfect. All right. Tricolor lands. Okay, so we're trying to get to 3 mana, obviously, and then we're just gonna go haywire on his mana base. Good. There's no Dottie, which is what I feared the most here. And I'll... Okay. Let's go with that. I'm also going to deploy the Snapcaster Mage early on here as something that, if I want to play the Dottie down the road, I have the Snapcaster Mage that can on the one hand protect me from a Liliana, or the Dottie, I should say. So I do need the Water Grave, and then we're gonna go with this. The question is our opponent running Veil of Summer? Because he's running a weird list, right? So maybe... No, still gonna go with it. Could have also gone with the Dottie. But then we're exposing ourselves to a sweeper. And our opponent's playing like a list that we don't really know about. And he's also cautious with the fetches here. So let's see. I'm gonna do it in his upkeep. No, it does have a Veil of Summer. Alrighty then, I guess. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna complain about Veil of Summer. That's a retarded card, everybody knows that, but whatever. So, what are we gonna do? I think we're gonna attack first. Right? And then we're just gonna pass the turn. See what our opponent does. Lair of the Hydra. Such a good card. So we're gonna return and have him discard. Grief. Ooh, that's pretty strong. So, I mean, he does have the Profane Tutor. So I think that one we're gonna still sit out. And then what's the worst thing that can happen, right? This is 5 mana. I don't think there's a whole lot that can do with 5 mana that, you know, completely crushes us. So we're gonna counter draw. And if he does have another Veil of Summer, so be it. But what I don't care about are a whole variety of Planeswalkers. This is also not too bad. You will realize that our hand's pretty decent. Guess has to take the K command here. No way around it. Could of course also go after. I don't know. Feels awkward. Double green. Oh, such a good play. My opponent. Oh my goodness. Well done. Well done. Okay, so obviously it was not a good play. So we're gonna bring in the Dottie here, and we're gonna do this. And actually, we don't even care. Like, honestly, I could return the Fulminator Mage right away, go after the Hydra, whatever, but I can still do that end of turn. Like, how big is this? 3, 3, 3. Yeah, 3, 3. Okay. And I'm going to utilize the K command right now because I don't want, like, otherwise I have to utilize the Archmage's Charm to counter if he doesn't do anything in his turn, if he does do something in his turn. I was just waiting for the Hydra to do something, and yeah, Liliana. So it indicated that he wanted to utilize the mana there, so I was going to go ahead with it. Oops. Yeah, we just have a faster clock here. Alright, so opponent apparently chose to just block now. But obviously that's not going to be a thing. And GG's. Come on, concede, dude. No way you're getting back into this game. Come on, dude. What the fuck? Do you even know that I have an Archmage Charm in hand? Thank you. Alright, welcome to round number 4. We're on the play, and we're gonna keep, and we're playing against the Goyoran deck again. Ah, great. So, I think I'm gonna start with the Watery Grave. Probably want the Polluted Delta to be a Triumph. Not what I want right now. Just looking for lands. And Seasoned Pyromancer, this is exactly what I mean, right? So whenever I don't want Seasoned Pyromancer in my hand, I can just like discard it with a Consider, which is really neat for additional value. Alright, so our opponent apparently no plays up until this moment. No. We do have the fail push, so we can deal with like a Quaddle or the Risen Reef. But I'm just looking here to go oh, you motherfucker. Oh man. Fucking motherfucker. That's gonna be a Risen Reef. This puts up a question in regards to what we want to do here. So I probably need the fail push for an Omnath down the road, because now we cannot counter anything anymore, and this is the reason why this matchup is so bad. I mean, I have to let it resolve anyway. And the question then is, do I want to return my Seasoned Pyromancer to my hand, or do I want my opponent to discard a card? I think both is reasonable. Because now we cannot play the control deck anymore. Like, with the Cavern of Souls, our positions change. Before, he was the beatdown and we were the control deck. Now it's the other way around, because we cannot outvalue him if he has that. Alright, still, I'm not gonna play the Seasoned Pyromancer right now, but it's alright to have it in hand for when we need to switch modes. What a retarded card. What a fucking retarded card. Anyway. But still, like, I just don't think, like, neither Omnath nor Risen Reef are the problem in this deck. It's solely, it really is. It solely is, So I think now I do have a decent play here. Do I need double black? No, I don't. I'm gonna discard the Croxa for additional value and the polluted delta. And pass the turn. So next turn we could theoretically play Croxa with counterspell backup, which is actually pretty potent. But of course, our opponent can play a Solitude through the counterspell with Cavern of Souls. Yeah, I think I'm going to counter this. And I think I'm going to do it with a counter spell, so that I have the ability to no follow-up play. That is really weird, right? Because if there had been an Omnath, then I definitely would have wanted to do something with it. It's not bad, it's a redraw basically, but I think I'm gonna ditch this. Genau. Alright, so let's attack. See if our opponent does have like an Ice Fang Coil or whatever. Feels like I shouldn't be playing the Croxa here. There's just too much open mana and our opponent didn't do anything last turn. I think we could get blown out. Just passing the turn. Yeah, this is what I thought, actually. So I'm gonna counter this, because it's gonna be an Omnath, I assume. And if he does have something like a backup, Ephemerate or something, then we might get fucked here. How's that? Alright, a Risen Reef. Alright, well, let's go attacking. Probably won't be able to play the Season Pyromancer this turn, because I need to utilize the bolts. Sadly, that same thing goes for Croxa, but that's also why I will maintain the Otawara in hand. But that also means that I don't need to act this turn. Also, my opponent, like, he's keeping mana open, right? He's not going for the Yorion. I'm not even putting it into hands. Just a little weird. This might be a Fury. What? Okay. If our opponent, of course, does have an Ephemerate here, and he's going to try to target the Obsidian, blah blah blah, then we might have an issue. Alright. Die. So this screams like as if our opponent was gonna go for an Ephemerate onto the Obsidian Yawgmoth here. And there can't be anything else, basically, so he definitely has an Ephemerate, which means if I go Otawara now, then my Steam Vents die. But he basically has to do it now, so that I cannot play the Croxa, right? Well, okay. So random. So random. So I think we don't necessarily need to attack here. Of course, it kind of sucks that we currently don't have. When we attack for 1, then he's down to 3, which means an additional Lightning Bolt or Snapcaster Mage is lethal. We can, of course... He might attack, though, and then try to Ephemerate, which we can counter. Okay. Yeah, this is exactly what I was thinking. Alright, let's go with Lightning Bolt right now. Definitely has something. Alright, so we're gonna go with this. And then we can go and try to kill this, because otherwise it is being bounced next turn by the Yorion. The issue here is that, I mean, I can't fetch for this, so we don't die to the Yorion. Does have another one. Alright, does have another call here. So, does he have another land is my question. Because he didn't play one before. Probably abundant growth. Okay. And did find a land. Better lucky than good, am I right? Alright, so, but now... I think I have to go with Croxair, because that at least requires my opponent GG. GG yourself, my friend. Fucking retard. This has to be Solitude, I assume. Okay, so we're gonna play this, then we are going to play this as well. Not perfect. A little bit... I mean, can't have everything. We didn't draw badly here. Could have also just played the Orion, but who am I to judge, right? So now he's got quite a little bit of stuff, right? But I can go target player discards a card and deal 2 damage. Can I survive? though. Again, don't have a Snapcaster Mage anywhere. So surprisingly, we're not completely out of it. Like, I could kill the Teferi as well. That gives me the opportunity to play a little Cryptic Command in their turn. If we had a little bit more life, I think we'd get there. I mean, we have to play to our outs. Let's just do this. And then maybe he's bad and just, you know, plays the Yorion before hand. I don't understand this. Like, is this a programming issue? Like, how are we at 24 cards again against a 4C deck, and we haven't seen our fucking Snapcaster Mages? What the fuck is going on? Alright, so these are coming in. These are not entirely going out. This is going out. That's good. This is fine. One Flame Blitz. Okay, one. I hope you can feel it though. That we're inching closer and closer each game to actually outvaluing them. So like if I had, like the Shaman was a little bit awkward, but if I had one more red source, then the whole play pattern would have changed. I could have returned my Season's Pyromancer with a K command, drawn 2 extra cards, you know, and went on from there. So, yeah. That would have been quite different. I hope you don't hear me eating too much, but I have to snack something in between. Alright, we're on the play. And I think we can keep this. So, yeah, the Flame Blitz, of course, if this was just going to be for a value play, then I'd play the Flame Blitz in the beginning, but I, of course, want and need to wait for Planeswalker to come down first, otherwise the Flame Blitz will just get eaten like Prismatic Ending or whatever. So the good thing here is that Snapcaster Mage can always board the unlicensed hearse. I think I'm gonna eat my own. Our opponent certainly is playing some sort of endurance or whatever. And therefore, let's just wait and see. So unlicensed hearse is actually pretty decent here for more than one reason. Of course, it does stifle Ren and 6 and basically requires my opponent to have a solution for the hearse first before he can bring down any planeswalker. Oh shit, that was a mistake. I should have fetched for black. Also, maybe I'm gonna go cycle the Flamelets. Yeah, I'm gonna let that resolve. He might be sandbagging, of course. Let's cycle this. Opponent really has the place down. Fetching before the trigger resolves. Insane. Okay, our opponent attacking here is a little bit weird. And he also doesn't have a land drop, apparently. So obviously, I would want to go and Archmage's Charm myself. We could be running into a counterspell though. Not gonna lie. And so our hearse is a 6/6 by now. Pretty fucking huge. No, I don't think I will. Actually, yeah, let's counter. So he's not even attacking anymore. Do you fear? Do you smell the fear? All right. All right. And this is exactly the situation, you know, that I want to showcase in regards to Ren and 6. So if there's no Ren and 6 on the battlefield for these types of decks, right? They actually get stuck on really awkward mana. So if this deck is a problem in the meta, and, you know, it might be, then Ren and 6 is the way to go, because then you can attack the mana base, then it's super awkward, then they have a bunch of really, really expensive cards, and that's definitely where you want to be. Alright, so that's a Reason Reef. Something that we're gonna try to stop. Not sure whether or not we can though. Would be hilarious if he was gonna go with. Okay. So this is not white, so I'm gonna go ahead here. Target that, and then I'm gonna kill that thing, because I was waiting for that to happen anyway. And then we're gonna eat some. Also appears like our opponent doesn't have a Solitude in hand, otherwise I think he would not have been as scared. I'm going to counter with the Yawgmoth Shaman. I want to have the Snapcaster Mage in play. And then a little bit of backup. Yeah, and then we're going to go with the Unlicensors and see where it takes us. So now it's huge. And we even have, like, next turn we could go with Hall of Storm Giants as well. If we draw another land. Well, okay. I guess. So, but then we're gonna go and return and discard. This one we're not gonna lose. Oh look, it's a Titania. Let's try to counter draw this. Because Ren 6 of course not only fixes their mana, but also like Boseiju kills my Hall of Storm Giants and Ren 6 kills my Snapcaster Mage, so yeah, just a couple of problems there. So we got 8 mana, which means... Alright, probably should have responded to the fetch there. It doesn't really matter. Let's go with a Consider here. Yeah, I don't need that right now. One, two, three, four, five. The problem with like the endurance in this spot is that our opponent, of course, somewhat needs to play it reactively because he knows about our Snapcaster Mage. So if he plays it proactively, then all of a sudden we have a handle here. But yeah, Cavern of Souls changes the whole dynamic again. So if we make it to game 3, we definitely will have to like play that one fast. It's gonna take it for a bit more, it seems. Is that endurance? Yeah, it is. Alright, let's go. And go, I think K-Command, right? We could also just go with a Consider. I guess Consider is decent. Oh, that's pretty strong. Alright, so we're going to respond here. I do want to return the one with the 3 damage. And then draw a card. Alright, so this, I mean, oh, you can do that, definitely. Like, we're not drawing an additional card. But, well, I mean, he could hit Endurance, I guess, on the swing back. But, also, oh, so what can I do now? Well, this is gonna be decisive, I think. I still have some in the back here. So if I ditch these 2, then I have 5 there. I draw 2 new cards. I think I'm gonna go this first. That's a Solitude, good. Then we're gonna go red, red, blue. Yep, have a little bit of something on the battlefield. And, well, I can't kill the Fury, I just cannot protect my graveyard. Which is fine though, I think. Maybe I should have waited here. Well, he's probably gonna go after my graveyard anyway. Very good. Oh, it was an Omnath. Alright, so I think we are on at the upper hand here. He has to block Horde of Storm Giants, and he's saving a little bit of time here. Let's go to round number 3. So the endurance is a little bit of a pain in the ass. I'm bringing in the Alpine Moon for Cavern of Souls. I think the rest remains the same. On the draw, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go after the land base. So I think this is what we're going to go with. Now we really have to play fast. Okay, we're going to keep it. Opponent almost passed his turn there. That would have been great. Alright, we're going to start off with Scalding Tarn here. So if there's a Ren in 6, I can go Bolt Bolt. Okay, there's no Ren in 6, which is also good. So this is going to be another red source, so that we have 2 red sources down. Caverns is annoying, of course. Not gonna lie. Oh my goodness, opponent. No lands? That's great. But not for you. Alright, we're flooding out a little bit here. No, not really flooding out. It's just need to get rid of some cards. Did have Nice Fang, but wasn't gonna play it there. Interesting. Okay. Season Pyromancer. Also something for the future, I'd say. Maybe even something for the immediate future. Okay, so even at the risk of running into a Veil of Summer here, which we thankfully did not, I'm gonna bounce that because that makes your end worse. He has an additional card in hand, so just a lot of good stuff. Lol. Lol, 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 lol. Alright, yeah. I think we're just gonna pass, then try to kill this. So opponent, I don't know, seems to just try to stay like in time here. I don't know if he's even trying to win anymore. The big Omnath turn. Alright, yeah, I can't do anything against that. That's just gonna resolve. And then I can't really do a whole lot here, so I have to pressure him, I think, with the drown. Either, like, you might have an Ephemerate, of course, you might have a Veil of Summer. Doesn't really matter to me. Okay, might not have either. So I think we are going to go... maybe we wait one more turn. Yeah, let's wait one more turn. Oh my goodness, another fucking Omnath. I'm gonna bounce it to his fucking hand immediately. Alright, so I think now the play is this dude discarding another one of those, or maybe just a K command. Seems like the other one could still be decent. So I cannot bounce the other thing because it will obviously... Alright, so I think we need to try this. Oops. And then... we're just gonna go with that. Another Omnath. Thank goodness. So yeah, mana and life every turn, because that's just how it is. Alright, Solitude is not very solid, pretty bad here. We do get a little bit of life, which is neat. So let's go after the lands. Then do this. Ditch this because... Alright, then we are going to go... Actually, I don't think that we're gonna go that route. I think we're gonna go this route. Alright. Does have another Solitude as well. What did he ditch though? Another Eldamer's Call. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can theoretically go with another thing. I was a Boseiju. Haha, you little motherfucker. Alright, so he's at 212. We have like 15 seconds more than he does. And now he has to... Whoa. Alright. But now he doesn't have the mana for Yorion anymore. So this was not a good play, I think. So this one, and then this one. And then go. And then we are... probably doing this first. Before we do this, into this, into this. And what did we do? We won, you little motherfucker. Boom, bitch! Go fuck yourself. Fucking 4C player. No offense. Alright, welcome to the last round here. We are on the play. We have a super slow hand, but, you know. You have not lived if you didn't keep 2 cryptic commands in your starting hand. Wouldn't keep this on the draw, though. Alright. Yeah, if we're playing against Murktide, then our hand is fucking bad. I'll just attribute it to my, to COVID. Ah, fantastic. Sorry. Very sorry, wasn't fast enough. It's gonna be Ledger Shredder. That's a little bit annoying. But this way, okay. Is it just me or is that weird? So let's try to kill it. Yep. So now I have to be a little bit careful. I mean, I knew that he was gonna have a counterspell, of course, but the question now becomes, like, if I attack, he blocks something. Like, if he blocks here, that's not an issue, but it's very much more likely that he blocks an elemental token, and if that's the case, then I won't be able to Murktide? Okay. 4/4 Murktide, that was pretty aggressive. Well, what? That's good though. So I don't want to like, okay. I think I'm gonna go ditch this thing because I want to play around Spell Pierce. LOL? What? Alright, so apparently they switched from Spell Pierce to Spell Snare. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So I could still kill the Murktide, of course. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna just say fuck that dude specifically. Don't even mind. Like, that could have gone way better, obviously. I think I don't, I think I do want this. Just because of Seasoned Pyromancer, potentially. Does have another one. Perfect. So we can bounce that, that's not an issue. Our opponent's also... oh, that's also good. But we are gonna go with return and target player discards a card, please. Actually, maybe not. Maybe we're gonna go with return and please take some damage. And then we're gonna fucking return this dude. And then next turn we're gonna ditch the other dude. Okay, so he brings it down again, which is a little bit annoying. Also a little bit lucky. Interesting. That must be a mistake. Like, this cannot be correct. So having the snap lightning bolt as a backup is actually pretty neat. Do I really want to attack here? Why not though, right? Like, he ditched the Ragavarn, doesn't want to have those. And every attack with the tokens brings me closer. I could of course also go like play Seasoned Pyromancer this turn and then want something on his turn. But I think I'm gonna go attack. Is he gonna double bolt my elementals? Oh my goodness. Loli. Alright. I guess. So that dude's coming back ferociously as an 8/8. And he does have backup. Alright. That is an issue. Because that's a 2-turn clock. I think I'm going to respond here by playing the Brazen Burrow. See if he taps out, does something. Apparently not. Another land, okay. So if he lets this resolve, right? What are my options? I cannot really attack. No, I can't. So let's see if our opponent does have another counter spell here. Okay, so it does have another counter spell as well. Okay, that didn't go as planned. Now I'm going to play this with 62 because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Yep. So these lists are not running the RC anymore, apparently. So without this spell snare, I think we have our opponent there, pretty much. like that spell snare. But spell snare definitely, like for those who were on my Discord before, um, spell snare definitely a card that's just really good, and he has it here again. So he played it, either it has a spell snare or Mystical Dispute. Yeah, for those who are on my Discord, we were talking about spell snare before, just being a really supremely good counterspell in the current format, just due to the fact that everyone is packing all their eggs into the 2 mana slot. That's not even exaggerated, right? Rend 6, Iteration, Stoneforge Mystic. There's so much going on. Counterspell, Ledger Shredder. Just so much going on the 2 mana in the 2 mana slot. All right. So I'm gonna play this tapped, and then the question is, do I want to go with a Brazen Borer? I don't think so. Like, for right now, I'm good. Just passing the turn, collecting a couple of Snapcasters. Does have a spell snare. Fluster Storm. Okay. All right. So definitely has a backup. Backup counter magic here. We're still gonna go with a Petty Theft, I think. We're all like, we're definitely playing more Fluster Storms than this suit, but he already had 2 in hand. Crazy shit. Okay. Really doesn't really go well here. All right. No red sources, no considers for our Snapcaster Mage. All right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see each other next time.